follow-up from that last video. Because of time, I wanted to cut it out, but I still think it's valuable to know how to do. As you recall, this was what we made in the last one, the username and the password field. I did promise you to have the ability to be able to fill out that username automatically using Applescript and do a little bit more with this. So I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. So if you have your project ready to go, it's not too much different than the standard stock project. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have a function that can do some things for us automatically. So there's some placeholder content here where we have on application will finish launching and on application should terminate. Those are pre-filled. We're not going to mess with those, but you can see here that's where it does housekeeping before it quits. And then this one is initializing your application before any files are opened. We're actually going to do one more thing, which I think is really important and maybe should be considered to be a part of the template library here. On awake from nib. And what this will do is this will allow us to have a function that as soon as that window is drawn, that's what it's going to initialize for us. So whereas this is initializing our application before we open files, this is straight up on the drawing of that visual graphic. So we want to make sure that we have this information. Okay, so we want to be able to get a variable. So we'll say set username variable to short username of system info. Okay, and if you haven't done this before, you're unfamiliar with Applescript, I'll kind of show you how this works. In Applescript, what you can do if you're just writing a normal Applescript, you can say display dialog, and this won't work because it's going to have some typing issues. But what you can do is you can see that there's all this information about what we're looking for here, right? So it can get the username, the home directory, the Applescript version, the computer name, the IPv4 address, the host name. And so what we're going to do is take advantage of that feature of Applescript to be able to programmatically fill in that, just like how the normal dialog is. So you can see we can say short username because username is one of those elements that we can grab there. So system info, that's the command that you just saw, and we're just selecting that short username. So we made a variable and we're storing it in it. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to update that text field. So remember, this is on awake, so we are going to set our user text field to be able to be that variable. And so how we do this is we will say user text field so you know which one we're talking about, set string value, and what are we going to set it to? We're going to set it to this username variable that we had. Okay? And if you were to do any other things in here, for example, if you were to collect any more information, if you wanted this to, for example, make a web request to check connectivity, there's a ton of stuff that you can do, and you can have that all in here. But for now, we're just going to update that username in that text field automatically. So now we build it, and boom, it automatically filled in my username, ready to go, exactly as you would expect from an OS X dialog box. Pretty cool. So the other thing that we can do, looking at that text box, if we go back to our menu builder and look at the side of this here, there's a way that you can do a placeholder string, which is not the same. But if you did want to do something like that, where it says username, that's how that would look. So just in case it's unable to get that username, this is what you can do to have something so the user knows exactly what they're expecting to type in there. So in case that fails, you can do some basic error handling if you wanted to. However, the easiest way to make a placeholder is to just use that placeholder there. So hope that helps and clears some things up.